Understanding Excel basics is really going to help you guys when we start working on more in-depth Excel features. So I wanted to go ahead and shoot you guys this video, kind of going over the Excel basics function, and I want to show you how we can modify things in Excel, much like what we did with Word, so that it meets our specifications. So I am in the Home tab ribbon. Everything that we're going to be doing is in this Home tab today. Each one of these orange boxes will need to have something done with it. Okay, so this is what you're looking for, is these orange boxes. And then underneath each of these areas, it says what you need to do and gives you a nice little representation photo of what you're trying to do. And I'm going to show you all of these so that you can follow along and get this stuff turned in. All right. So the first thing it's going to say is here in this first box where we have the word title, we need to change the cell style to title. So the first thing I want to do is click on the cell. This is cell B1, which means it is in column B, row 1. So this is the address of the cell is B1. Okay, so I'm clicked in B1. Right here in the formula bar, I can see the text that is there. So it says title. Okay. I'm going to be very specific with my cell addresses so that you make sure that you are always clicking in the right spot. I then want to come over to the cell styles, which is up in the styles box on the ribbon, and I'm going to click this drop down arrow, and here are lots of different pre-programmed ways that you can make your cells look differently without having to come and fuss with the font and the color and stuff like this. So we are going to select title. And notice now, if I undo this, it just went from black text, and if I click redo, it will fix it back into title. Now, there's a problem here. I can't see all of this cell because the font is too large for the row and the cell height. So the fastest way to fix this is to come over into the row section, see where my little number 1 is highlighted now with green, and if I move my mouse down, I get this line with arrows pointing up and down. If I click my left mouse button, like I'm highlighting text, I can drag that row height down. So now I just dragged it down. Notice how much wider or taller this cell is than this cell. So I just increased the row height by using this drag and drop, and it tells me the height will now be when I let go of the mouse, will be 36 or 48 pixels high. So I'm going to go ahead and resize that. Okay, and now I'm done with box number 1. I'm going to come over to box number 2, where we are looking at these orange cells and their numbers, and we are going to turn them into specific formats. So format number 1 is a number. So I'm going to go ahead and click on cell H3, which has the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it's active by the green line. And I'm going to come up to the number box, click that arrow out, and then I'm going to come in, I'm going to set this as a number. The default is 2 decimal places. I'm just going to click OK. And now I have all of these these pound keys. Looks like hashtags all over the place. Well, we've changed our row height. We can also change our row width, our column width. So up here in the H column, I'm going to hover over the edge of this invisible line between H and I, and I get those arrows going right and left. I can now drag that H column and make it wider. Notice this is wider than this. So I can make rows taller and columns wider. This is important because many cells will not fit unless we do these things. All right, moving down, we are going to select the currency option for cell H5. Once again, I'm coming to the number format box. I'm going to go ahead and move this off to the side, and I'm going to put currency. Again, the default is 2 decimal places. And now you can see that the currency is $50. In cell H7, I'm going to turn the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a date. Come up to my number formatter, and I'm going to select date, and we're just going to keep the default. And now I have the date, October 18th, 1933. In cell H9, I'm going to turn the number 50 into a percent. Come up to my number formatter, click on percentage, and then I'm going to keep the default at 2 decimal places. And now my 50 has turned into 5,000%. Now, a lot of you might think that this should have been 50%, so let's go ahead and undo that. If I had had a period in front of this 50, so now it says dot or period 50, and I wanted to come in and do that number again to percentage. Now it is 50%, but because there was not a dot in front of that point, so it didn't say 0.5, we are going to go ahead and revert it back to our 50%. Whoops, I went too far. Select my cell again. Come down to percentage. Okay. And the last one is we're going to keep this number as a text, which means it is just a number. It is what we would type in like for an address or something like that. It's not a specific number. It is just text that we're typing in. So I'm going to come into my number format and hit text, and okay. So it doesn't do anything to it, the number, but it did pop it over. And we are now done with box 2. The next one is to use the fill handle to make a list. So in Excel, we could add data manually. So if I wanted to do a number 1 and have a number 2 and number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6, I could definitely do that. But that's a lot of typing, and the more you type, the more likely you are to accidentally hit a wrong key on your keypad, and this could have been 45. That's not accurate. I want a list of numbers 1 through 6. I'm going to undo all of these. I'm just going to backspace, clear out those cells, or I can highlight both of these cells and then right click and then clear content. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start in this number 1 box, and I know that what would come next would be the number 2. Alright, so I've got numbers 1 and 2. If I highlight these 2 cells now, you see this little green box, and this is in 2013. In Office 2010 that box is still there, but it's black. I can grab on it when it turns into that black plus sign. You see that black plus sign? Now it's a white plus sign, now it's a black plus sign. I can left click on that and I'm going to drag the contents down, and it automatically fills in all of the text that I need. I can also tell it in these cells, we're skip counting, right? 3, 5. The next number would be 7, 9, 11, and 13. But we can come in, highlight those two cells, which is telling Excel the skip count by 2. I'm going to come and get that black plus sign. I've clicked my left mouse key and I'm just going to drag it down. And now I've got 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. I can also do this with months. So again, I highlight the cell, I grab that fill cell handle, and now I've got January through June, and I can do the exact same thing over here in cell O3 and drag it down and have the days of the week. Once again, I have an overlap of the width. Wednesday is bleeding into column P, so I'm just going to grab this and drag it over so everything fits. Now I can take all of these numbers and highlight through them and change them to centered or left or right justification. It's all the same things that we've learned in Word. I can change their color. I can change the background fill color. I can do all of these things. And you notice that some of these boxes have lines all the way around them. That can be changed so that they all have lines around them. And this is the border area. It's in the font menu. And I can say I want all borders. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys play with this, the first 3 boxes, and then I'm going to show you in a minute, finish up this video about using formulas and functions.